Okay, so let's get back to the question at hand. What if they wanted to combine? What if we wanted to combine the production possibilities frontier so we can see what their combined output in their most efficient way would look like? So we've already established the most efficient pattern of production, right? We've got most of these points here, and we can continue on. Like just move these bad boys down here. All right. So we can continue with some of these points here. Let me do this. Boo-doo-doo. All right, so at this point, right, basically they're both spending their time making the good that they have comparative advantage in. And later on, I'm going to give that a definition. It's called the point of complete specialization. Okay, and on these points, this is when Kendrick makes less and less songs until he only makes cars. Okay, so notice as you go from this point to this point, the number of cars went up by 4, right? What is that? So the number of cars going up by 4 while the number of songs is going down by 1. What is that? That's the trade-off. That's the opportunity cost. Each song that you're trading off for, you're getting 4 cars. 4 cars is your opportunity cost of 1 song. Okay? So this is, who's that opportunity cost? Kendrick's opportunity cost. Kendrick's OC for a song is 4, and the points move at a rate of 4. For each point that you go leftward on the axis for, you're going upwards 4 cars. Okay. So what about at this point? So what if we had 8 songs, right? What's happening there? Marshall is then producing 1 additional song, so you're giving up 7 cars. That's his opportunity cost. So you have 42 cars, 8 songs, okay? And then 35 cars, 9 songs, and so on. It's 21 cars, 11 songs, 14 cars, 12 songs, right? That's the one that we just did here. 14 cars, 12 songs. And then 7 cars, 13 songs. And then eventually we're going to top off where Marshall is making 0 cars and 14 songs, right? And that was the other intercept. So for these points, the slope is going to be Kendrick's opportunity cost. And for these points, the slope is going to be Marshall's opportunity cost. So each song that you're producing, that Marshall's producing, he's giving up 7 cars. Okay? So let's draw this graph here. All right. So I'm going to draw one more. Come on. Whatever, I guess I'm just drawing in the middle there. All right, I guess I'm not drawing. We're gonna overwrite the other one. So this will be Marshall and Kendrick's joint PPF, we call it. The joint PPF is just the production possibilities frontier when 2 people are working together. Okay. So all we really need to write a joint PPF is 3 points. Okay. Only 3 points needed for PPF. So you need x-intercept, you need the y-intercept, and you need the point of complete specialization. Okay, and I kind of hinted at it, and I'll define it a little more rigorously later on, but the point of complete specialization, or more formally I should say, the point of complete specialization is going to be this point 49.7, where Marshall makes all the cars, Kendrick makes all the songs, or in general, the point where person 1 who has comparative advantage in good 1 makes good 1, and person 2 who has comparative advantage in good 2 makes good 2, and they only do that with all of their time. Okay. So what's the y-intercept? It's going to be 77 cars. Okay. 77. So I'm going to bring that up over there, and then I'm going to do this. Okay. And I'll even do a little another thing here. Oh, all right, that works. And what's the x-intercept? The x-intercept is the maximum amount of songs that they could possibly make. It's 14. Okay. And just as an aside, again, it doesn't matter what's on your x-axis and what's on your y-axis, except in as much as I tell you what to put on there. But it does matter that you label your x-axis and your y-axis. So it should be one good here and one good here, and then your intercept should be labeled as well. All right. So label your intercepts, and then we said that there were 3 points we needed. So we got the x-intercept. That's 14 songs and 0 cars. We got the y-intercept. That's 0 cars and 77 songs. Or sorry, 77 cars and 0 songs. Now we need this point of complete specialization, which again I had said was the point at which the person with comparative advantage in cars spends all their time making cars and no time making songs, and the person who has comparative advantage in songs spends all their time making songs and no time making cars. Okay, so that is this one here, 49.7, where Marshall spends all 7 days making cars for a total of 49, and Kendrick spends all day making all of his days making songs for a total of 7. So I'm just going to label that bad boy. It should be 7, 49 for 7 songs and 49 cars. All right. And then the third thing I want to do is I just want to connect these 2 points here. So we've connected this one to that one, and I'm going to get rid of the fill here. No fill. So that way the line can intersect. And then I want to just draw a third line here connecting the 14 to the 749. And it's not quite perfect. There we go. If we hold the control key down, you have a little bit more control over, that is ironic, but you have a little more control over how the line will move, because the default is for it to snap into place, but we want it to kind of move so that it connects with the 749. All right, so first thing you should notice, it looks like the slope is weird, right? It's not really consistent. If we took the actual slope, right, slope is rise over run, alternatively change in y over change in x, and we did the slopes for these guys. So change in y is 77 minus 49, right? We're going from 77 to 49, and then the change in x is 0 minus 7, so negative 4. Now what if we did the other slope? Should it be negative 4? It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it to me, but maybe I just drew a crappy graph. Who knows? So let's see. So we're going from 49 to 0. So change in y should be 49 minus 0. Change in x should be 7 to 14, so 7 minus 14. We get -7. So we do have two different slopes. What could possibly be the reason why we had two different slopes? Well, remember, I had said that the slope in a PPF represents the trade-off between songs for cars. And what's another way of saying that? It represents the opportunity cost of songs, right? And at one piece of the graph, we've got an opportunity cost of -4. And on the other piece of this graph, the bottom half, we have an opportunity cost of -7, right? So where do those look familiar from? Well, if we just go up here, Kendrick's opportunity cost for a song is 4, and Marshall's is 7, right? So we have our opportunity costs directly reflected in this combined PPF, and there's two separate opportunity costs. The reason being, at this point, who's producing cars? Both of them, right? And at this point, who's producing cars? Just Marshall, right? So at some point from here to here, Kendrick stops producing cars, right? So instead of Kendrick producing cars, he's producing songs, right? So for every car, or for every song that he's producing, right, he's moving to the right, that will be the run. For every song that he's producing, he's giving up some cars, right? That's the opportunity cost. So Kendrick is the one giving up the cars here. So he's giving up 4 cars per song, right? So I'm just going to label that slope right here, okay? Actually, let me use this guy. So this is -4, Kendrick's op cost. Because it's Kendrick who's giving up the songs right now. Or sorry, who's giving up the cars for a song right now. Okay. And then at this point, moving from the point of complete specialization, 749, to the x-intercept, 14, who's giving up cars? It's Marshall. Marshall is giving up cars for songs. So it should reflect Marshall's opportunity cost of a song, right? So that'll be -7. Well, Marshall's opportunity cost is going to be +7 cars per song, but it'll be negative in the graph because it's representing the trade-off, right? It's negative because it's essentially, come on. You're getting rid of cars in order to make songs. So this should be Marshall. So it's at this point, Kendrick's giving up cars. And at this point, Marshall's giving up cars, right? So it reflects the amount of cars that they're giving up for the songs, the opportunity cost of songs. Okay. And it's always going to be in terms of the x-axis good, the opportunity cost. All right. So the next thing I want you just to think about when you're doing these, when you're following along for homework or whatever, if it's the case that you have your -7 up here and your -4 up here, think about what that would look like. So -7 is going to be a steeper line than your -4. So basically, oh, sorry, grabbed the wrong thing. So basically, your graph is going to look like this. Ah, come on. Your graph is going to look like this ugly little elbow bend, right? We don't want that. If you have a higher negative slope at the top, like the portion that's on the left, then on the right, you've done something wrong. You either messed up your opportunity costs, or you just like switched something along the way. So just make sure that the graph that you've done looks like this shape, like a real elbow. You can't see me. It should look like this and not like an extended out elbow, like a gross elbow. Okay? You want real elbow, not gross out acrobat elbow. Okay? So sometimes what I'd recommend is just doing it both ways and seeing which way gets you the one that looks like this. You know, if you're unsure, if you're positive, then do it the right way and only the right way. But if you're unsure, do it both ways. See which one gets you out the boom bomb versus the you want it to look like this and down versus hold on one second versus it's so hard to do hand motions on video because everything's backwards. So you just want it to look like this, all right? Not like the other monstrosity that we saw. Okay. So those are the 3 points, really. That's all you need is you need the x-intercept, sorry, the y-intercept, the x-intercept, and you need the opportunity, the point of complete specialization. And then you can just label the slopes, okay? And then you're done. So we went kind of the long way and we plotted every point, or we considered every point for the sake of showing you how it works. But we don't need to do that every time. But we can test out some of these points, right? 69.2 is that on the graph? If we go up 2, looks at 7.13. So if we go about halfway over on songs, or sorry, it should be 7 cars, 13 songs. So if we go about here, it should be 7. Yeah, it looks about right. All right. Okay, so let's go back to the slideshow and let's continue on because I'm going to kind of be a little redundant. It kind of goes like a recap of what I just kind of showed in a very enthusiastic way, I think. All right, so we said together that they can make 77 cars and 0 songs, or 14 cars and 0 songs. So those are our intercepts. So that was the first point we found. So we labeled them. What if we wanted to map the combined production possibilities that Marshall and Kendrick can make together? We said that if they work together, with Kendrick should be the one making most of the songs because he's comparative advantage, and Marshall should be focusing on cars because he has comparative advantage in cars. If Kendrick makes 1 song, he can only make 24 cars for a group total of 73 cars. So I just plotted the first point just to kind of show. Okay, so Kendrick is basically giving up 4 cars in order to make 1 song. So that's this point here. And that's why it'll have the slope of -4. Oh, whoa, too far. Come on. Okay, so the slope of -4 you can see right here. Okay. All right, so now you've seen this graph a couple times. So this is the full graph. There's just one point that we didn't officially demonstrate on the PowerPoint, and that's this point of complete specialization. And that point corresponds to Marshall making 49 cars and Kendrick making 7 songs. And basically, Marshall spending 7 days times 7 songs per day. Kendrick is spending 7 days times 7. Sorry, I said songs. Marshall spending 7 days times 7 cars per day, so 49 cars total. Kendrick is spending 7 days times 1 song per day for 7 songs total. Okay. So that is their combined production possibilities frontier. So these are, as a reminder, production possibilities frontier gives you the efficient and feasible combinations of cars and songs that these 2 people can produce. Okay. So everything on this line is both efficient and feasible for Kendrick and Marshall's production of cars and songs. They could also produce, like I showed you, they split it up. They could do like 27 or something, like 20 cars and 7 songs or something like that. That is definitely feasible, but it's inefficient because they can increase from 20 cars and 7 songs up to 49 cars and 7 songs. Okay. And then lastly, I talked about this at length, but the opportunity cost will show you the the opportunity cost will show you the 2 different the slopes will show you the two different opportunity costs for the songs for each particular person, depending on who's giving up the songs first. Okay.